Because she kept nagging me to work faster, I dumped Mom off in the mountains. What are you saying? When I returned from a business trip, unbelievably, my sister had abandoned our mother in the mountains. Shocked by my sister's terrible deed, I screamed. My sister is even trying to kick me out of the house. I can no longer tolerate my sister, who leads a sloppy life without managing housework or her job. This is unforgivable. My name is Anna. I am 28 and single. Work is the center of my life, and I live at my parents' home. The workplace is close to my home, so I can avoid the rush hour by cycling. I wanted to live on my own, but after Dad died early, I couldn't leave Mom alone. Mom is still in her 50s, but she will continue to age. It is becoming increasingly difficult to balance work and household chores. I help out, but I worry about Mom living alone if I were gone. Even if I get married, I need to consider living nearby. However, I have no marriage plans yet. Busy with work and taking care of a parent, I haven't had a boyfriend since graduating high school. Yes, I haven't had a boyfriend since high school. I do want to get married, and having grandchildren would surely add to Mom's smiles. Since Dad died, a hint of sadness can be seen in Mom's smiles. But still, I haven't made any marriage plans. If so, I have no choice but to rely on Katie. I have a sister named Katie. Katie is 2 years younger than me, turning 26 this year. She got married last year at 25 and is now enjoying a newlywed life. My relationship with Katie is not good. We've been arguing constantly for a long time. Katie is self-centered, always believing she is right, making me feel inferior. She feels superior and often mocks me. Ever since we were young, she would brag, "Look, big sis, Mom bought me such cute clothes, and I got another new present and some pocket money too." However, our parents never favored her. When I say I received the same things, she would retort, "Well, yours look inferior, and the design is bad, mine is much better." If my test scores were slightly worse, she would blame me. It's embarrassing to have such a dumb sister, and proclaim, "What I say is absolutely right. Because I'm the younger sister, you should bear it," she would say, and during meals, she would boldly take my favorite food. "It suits me better, so I'll use your clothes and bags," she would say with a strangely obliging attitude. Why, though? She used to say they were tacky. My remarks don't get through to her. Her inexplicable competitive spirit hasn't stopped even after becoming an adult. At her wedding last year, she happily said, "Sorry, but I got married before you, big sis. Can't help it, I'm more attractive." Skilled at pretending, her spouse hasn't seen her true nature. Since she doesn't harm her spouse, if she remains quiet, she should be able to have a peaceful married life. Thinking so, I didn't reveal Katie's true character. Honestly, I was very happy when Katie got married and left home. I wanted to avoid a situation where an unnecessary comment could break her engagement, and she would return home. Katie is not employed. After graduation, she worked but soon quit, saying, "It's not a job for someone like me, it's boring, and I quickly lose interest." Eventually, she escaped work by claiming to be practicing household chores. I've never seen Katie doing any housework at home. Mom is troubled, but it's not easy to kick her out, so she reluctantly accepts it. As long as Mom allows it, I have no right to intervene. Taking advantage of Mom's silence, Katie dawdles around, constantly demanding money from her. Even when I confront her harshly, she laughs and responds, "Why? Are you jealous that Mom loves me?" Nothing I say affects Katie, she lives freely. However, her playful spirit somehow worked, and she found a spouse. It's unclear whether she was picked up or if she approached the man, but marrying him turned out to be a successful result. Katie hasn't returned home once after her marriage, leading a calm life. Honestly, it's doubtful she would return even if she had children, typical of her behavior. If she gets tired of childcare, she will surely dump the kids to go out. I must consider how to handle that situation. While living such days, I was surprised when Katie visited after I returned from work. "Oh, Katie, it's rare to see you. What about your husband?" It seems she came alone? It was a weekday, so normally she would be at work. Actually, I'm divorced now, and I'll be staying here again." I was slow to respond to her sudden confession of divorce. "Wait, divorce? But it's only been a year since you got married." "Duration doesn't matter. I just got bored with him." "What? Bored? I couldn't catch up with this shocking fact at first, but finally I understood. At that moment, I couldn't help but shout, "You're loud, just be quiet. You really are vulgar, as always. Truly embarrassing as a sister." She still spoke harsh words to me. "Wait, what do you mean by divorce? Staying here? What are you talking about?" "I'm getting divorced, so I'm saying I'll move back to our parents' house. Don't you understand?" Ah, this rude tone, how nostalgic. However, it wasn't the time to feel nostalgic. "Wait a minute. I don't mind you living here, but what about your job? Are you not planning to work again?" It was unacceptable. Before I could say more, Katie slammed the table hard. "Be quiet. I'm heartbroken from the divorce. Can't you be a little considerate of your sister for once? You're always so selfish, you single woman." Despite her earlier claims of being bored, it's incomprehensible how she could be hurt. As I stood bewildered, Katie continued, "Anyway, I need time to heal my emotional wounds now, so you better earn well." "What?" I was so astonished by her one-sided claim that I couldn't help but exclaim. Katie snickered and returned to her room. No way. I was so stunned I couldn't speak. The days ahead were difficult. Even when I returned home tired, I couldn't find peace at home. Katie didn't do housework and always spent her time watching TV on the sofa. When Mom used the vacuum cleaner, Katie would yell, "Be quiet, I can't hear the TV." When asked who would pay for her smartphone, she replied, "Of course Mom does." Thinking about where Mom's money came from, was it from my earnings, Mom's salary, or part of the inheritance left by Dad? This needed to stop. "Mom, it's not good to spoil Katie like this," I kept saying, but Mom was in a complicated situation. There are times to let things be, but the recent divorce stirred Mom's sympathy. It's hard for me, who has no children, to understand a parent's feelings, but I avoid being too assertive since Mom is the head of the household. Amidst this, Katie has become even more presumptuous. "Aren't you embarrassed to go to work without makeup? Or is that with makeup? Embarrassing. You're asking me why I didn't ask before eating the new sweets you put in the fridge. It's only natural. I'll eat them instead since you'll just get uglier if you get fatter. Be grateful. That branded bag in your room, was it fake? It broke immediately when I hit a bug on the wall with it." Every day, Katie's arrogant words never end. I've decided. Seeing the branded bag she used and broke on her own, I clenched my fist in anger. This is a battle I have no choice. A fight between sisters is about to begin. But I am an adult. I cannot stoop to the level of my still immature sister. Therefore, I decided to have a serious discussion with Mom and the three of us. However, the timing was bad, and I suddenly had to go on a business trip for a week. Normally, Mom can manage on her own for a week, but this situation is different, especially with Katie being difficult to handle. If only Mom weren't around, I could properly educate Katie alone. On the other hand, I'm very worried about leaving them alone together. "Katie, make sure you help out with the chores," I cautioned. But Katie retorted while eating potato chips, "Stop nagging. I'm letting Mom work to keep her energetic," and we argued again after I said, "That's not right." I left with an uneasy atmosphere and headed for my business trip. During the business trip, a week of focused, error-free work followed. There was no contact from Mom, and I returned home with a mix of relief and anxiety. "I'm home. Are you home, Mom?" Exhausted, I called for Mom from the entrance. Normally, Mom would be home on her day off. But the house was silent, and there was no response. Maybe she went shopping. Not seeing Mom's shoes, I was about to enter the house when I heard, "Welcome back." Katie appeared and said that. "Katie, did Mom go shopping?" "Mom isn't here anymore." Katie's reply felt strange. "What do you mean she isn't here?" "Yesterday, Mom suddenly got angry. She had enough, telling me to work and do household chores." That sounds tough. It seems that during my absence, Mom finally exploded in anger at Katie, who is always lazy. When Mom came home tired from work and Katie made various demands, Mom must have finally lost her temper. Because she kept nagging me to work faster, I dumped Mom off in the mountains. What are you saying?" I struggled to understand. I knew that Mom and Katie had a fierce argument, but how did that lead to leaving her in the mountains? "What? In the mountains?" Finally grasping the situation, I raised my voice. It's true. I thought she'd cool off by driving a bit. We have a small car at home, which I mainly use on weekends. But Mom doesn't have a driving license. So we got out of the car because the air was fresh in the mountains. Got out and, while Mom was distracted by something else, I drove back home. What on earth? Isn't this a legal issue? How could she abandon her? Perhaps this is a crime, but maybe it'll only be considered so if it involves endangering life. But it might actually have been a dangerous situation. That's a crime. What are you talking about? It was just a little prank to get Mom's attention. I gave her wallet to her and dropped her off on a paved mountain road. So as an adult, she should be able to make her way back. If someone passes by, she should be able to ask for help. How could you even think of doing such a thing, especially on such a cold day? Enough already. You leave this place too. Wait, what did you just say, Katie? Shut up, shut up, shut up. I have the right to live here, and you and Mom have the duty to support me. Do you understand that? There is no such duty. I can't believe an adult is saying this. However, my objection only made her angrier, and she pushed me forcefully. I was too tired to resist her strength, and she pushed me out of the house. Just leave, and when you're ready to support me, you can come back. What? Katie slammed the door shut and locked the door with the door guard in place. I have the key, but it's useless with the door guard in place. I circled the garden, but all the windows were locked, and the curtains were drawn so I couldn't see inside. I tried calling Katie's mobile, but it was turned off. There was no answer, despite knocking on the door. However, not being able to enter is not the main problem right now. I'm worried about Mom. I tried contacting Mom's mobile phone, but it didn't connect, presumably because she was in the mountains. This is a bad sign. Fortunately, I had the car keys, so I immediately jumped into the car. The destination seemed vague, but actually there was a clear way to know. It was through the car navigation system. It's unlikely that my reclusive sister could accurately target a mountain. When I checked the navigation history, as expected, a specific mountain was recorded. I quickly drove towards that location. Fortunately, Mom was safe, and when I found her at a shop near the entrance of the hiking trail, I couldn't stop my tears. Apparently, Mom had walked hard and was resting there. I'm really relieved. Anna, thank you. We both shed tears, but thankfully she looked healthy. However, it's not the time to cry. How could Katie do this? This is unforgivable. I said this as I looked at Mom. I can't stand this anymore, right, Mom? Mom nodded in response to my question, seeking her agreement. Mom was angry at Katie's laziness. And due to Katie's unbelievable actions, Mom finally made a decision. Katie will have to prepare herself. That night, we stayed in a hotel. The next day, we returned home again. Even when I rang the intercom, Katie did not respond. Calling Katie's mobile was futile as it remained off. So I kept calling the home phone nonstop. As I expected, it was unlikely that Katie had set up an answering machine. The fact that the phone rang continuously was proof of that. Confirming that I could faintly hear the sound, I started pounding on the front door. Fortunately, due to the distance to neighboring houses, we could do so without disturbing them. Katie, open up, Katie. Mom also raised her voice with me. At that moment, I heard noise from someone running down the stairs inside the house. The next instant, the front door swung open forcefully. Stop it. Why so early in the morning? Well, you can't just come in. It's our house. What do you mean we can't just come in? Ignoring Katie's attempt to stop us, we entered the house. Wait a minute. Katie, you have no right to stop us. Mom, you're back already. Have you both reflected a little? By the way, I've decided to turn this house into an Airbnb. I'll earn from it, so there's no place for you two here. We were shocked by her words. Don't be ridiculous. Do you think that's going to work? You're the one who needs to reflect, Katie. I retorted and turned my back to my sister. Look outside the window, I directed. Though skeptical, Katie looked outside. Seeing the person behind Mom, she started shaking. What, Matt? Matt was the husband she had claimed to have lost interest in and had already divorced. Why is Matt here? Matt then spoke in a bewildered tone. I was contacted by your sister-in-law. You said you grew tired of me? But that's not all, right? You were messing around with other men while I was at work. I'll accept the divorce. But be ready to pay a hefty compensation. Actually, there was a reason why Katie had suddenly come back. She had fled from her husband. After an affair came to light and before the problem escalated, she quickly escaped back to this house. Of course, he had tried to contact her, but she did not respond. He hadn't contacted our house because he didn't know our contact details. In fact, Katie had given him a fake phone number. Usually, it's rare for a husband to call his wife's parents' house, so he did not realize the number's fake. Moreover, he didn't even know our address. His first meeting with our family took place at a restaurant, and since he had never visited our house even after they got married, he didn't know our address. Katie had even provided a fake address. However, when Mom and I arrived at the hotel last night, I immediately tried to contact his workplace. We didn't know his direct phone number, but Mom remembered the name of the company, so we were able to get in touch. Thinking it was still business hours, I called and got connected immediately. When I spoke to him on the phone about Katie, we found out about her affair. There's no way I can pay the compensation. You're young and healthy, so find a job and pay it properly. His firm stance left Katie speechless. Then, she quickly turned to Mom. Mom, will you help me? No. Katie tried to persuade Mom while crying, but was immediately rejected. Then Katie turned to me. Again, she was crying. Sis, help me, help me. Aren't I your dear sister? Dear sister, where is that person? I pretended to look around jokingly, and she scolded me. This is no joke. To abandon me at a time like this? Are you really my family? You're heartless. Matt, I truly regret it. Can't we live together again? Katie then turned to Matt. Apparently she is good at being shameless. However, his expression was icy. That's out of the question. What do you plan to do if we get back together, lazing around like before? Well, because I'm beautiful, just being with me makes you happy, right? You're talking in your sleep. Ha! Our divorce is already decided. From now on, let's communicate through a lawyer. Furthermore. Huh? What? Wait, Matt. You're not that beautiful. You're average. How could you say that? Katie was at a loss for words after hearing his final remark. Leaving a stunned Katie behind, Matt thanked Mom and me and left. Katie stood dumbfounded. When I looked at Mom, she nodded. Shall we begin? Yes, let's. As we said that, we began our actions. Ha! What are you doing? Katie noticed and panicked. What do you mean, what? We're cleaning up your stuff. Hey, don't just do whatever you want. Mom and I decided to move all her belongings out of her room, but Katie desperately tried to stop us. We ignored her resistance and continued. We're not throwing anything away. We're just moving it outside. You're free to do as you like. What is that? That makes no sense. Put it back right now. Mom, say something. Be quiet. Mom dismissed Katie's plea and spoke sternly. I no longer feel the need or obligation to protect you. When you left me in the mountains, my love for you disappeared. It was my responsibility to raise you to adulthood, but I have done enough. Leave right now. But I have nowhere to go. Sis, help me. Katie, you are beautiful, so surely someone will take care of you soon. Saying that with a smile, I threw out the last of her belongings. Most of it will probably just sit there, so I'll have to contact a disposal company later. With her belongings in the way, Katie couldn't enter the house. Well then, take care. I closed the door, locked it, and secured it completely. Katie was unable to return to our house. After she persisted for a while, we called the police, and then she seemed to panic and ran off somewhere with minimal belongings. Katie, who tried to take advantage of us for a good life, ended up losing everything. Looking back, she tried to contact us a few times, but we did not respond at all. Her husband frequently updated us on her situation, and while she was unstable and alternating between crying and anger, their divorce was officially finalized. Initially, Katie was able to manage with the little savings she had, but that money quickly ran out. She reluctantly started a part-time job, but as expected, it didn't last long. Then she moved on to night work that promised higher income, but that didn't last long either, and eventually we stopped seeing her. Without any support from us, her family, and having lost any means to pay compensation to her ex-husband, Katie eventually was cornered and vanished. We have no idea where she went or what happened to her after that. Only once, one of our relatives happened to see her in the city, but she was in such shabby clothes that it was hard to recognize her. The moment that relative tried to speak to her, Katie disappeared somewhere. Katie will probably continue to survive by depending on others. However, surviving on just youth and looks won't last much longer. A harsh reality awaits her. Despite everything, she showed no signs of self-reflection. We are not cold-hearted. If she had sincerely apologized, we were prepared to accept her back. However, Katie ultimately failed to understand the feelings of her family and could not grasp our compassion. In that sense, she was truly a pitiable person. As for myself, I was able to regain the peaceful daily life I once had with my mother. Our days are once again peaceful and comfortable. We are enjoying life without looking back, focusing positively